And lastly, Brazil is experiencing a wave of threats against trans, feminist, and Afro-descendant women candidates elected in the municipal elections of 2020. We have more details on these attacks and their causes in the following report.
The Brazilian elections of October 2020 were the first at the municipal level after the murder of Councilman Marielle Franco. Elected figures representing Afro-descendants, feminists, and LGBT movement won several positions in the elections. However, over a span of 2 weeks, a total of 2 attacks against transgender councillors were registered in São Paulo, with gunshots fired at the homes of Carol Yara and Samara Sostenes.
This meant I had to leave my house immediately, go to another place, and not even my mother knows the address. I'm in another practically clandestine address. I am an elected parliamentarian, together with the women of the Socialism and Liberty Party Feminist Caucus. The 46,000 votes I secured did not save me from being in clandestinity today.
A third incident registered in the recent days was the invasion of the cabinet of the São Paulo Council Chamber, where the trans councilwoman Erika Hilton acts. Previously, Duda Salabert, the most voted for councilman in Belo Horizonte and the first trans woman to reach the chamber in that city, was threatened. The same happened to Carol D'Artora and Ana Lucia Martins, both councilwomen of the Workers' Party and the first Afro-descendants elected in Curitiba and Joinville, respectively.
It is a state that little by little is becoming more authoritarian, taking away people's rights, social rights, destroying public patrimony on the one hand, and on the other hand also persecuting activists, persecuting the left.
Before the election, Federal Deputy Taliria Petron, a friend and party colleague of Marielle Franco, had denounced repeated plans to assassinate her to the United Nations. All the cases of attacks correspond to feminists, LGBT, and Afro-descendant figures acting in leftist parties, a symptom of today's Brazil.
Brazil has been experiencing an escalation of political violence for a few years now, the main event being the assassination in 2018. In these 2020 elections, even more black people, many more black people, transvestites, transsexuals and women were elected. That made the attacks, that wave of political violence, to escalate. What we're seeing now is a big threat against candidates, those elected, but also on democracy in Brazil.
The municipal chamber of São Paulo refused to provide security to councilwomen elected as part of the collective candidacies to share posts, restricting that right to those who headed the candidacies. With their leap into politics in 2021, the figures who have managed to enter the chambers of the Brazilian cities run the risk of being assassinated.